Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Football Power Hour, your new favorite destination for exclusive Premier League content, selected football news from around the world, Manchester United match previews, match reviews, football banter, tactical talk, everything in between. We got it all right for you here on the Football Power Hour with I, your host with the most. For joining me today, you deserve these flowers. Please receive them and my sincere gratitude. Matter of fact, for waking up this morning, you deserve these flowers. Please send these flowers to the person that loves you or the person that takes care of you or has birthed you or raised you. This is the Football Power Hour. Today we are reviewing the match between Norwich City and Manchester United, a match that occurred on the 11th of December 2021 at Carrow Road. It was very. Hold on. What's up, buddy? You wanna sit down here? What's up? Come, sit down. Sit right here. We're doing a little match review real quick, all right? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, big shout out. Some flowers for Stamps for joining us. You deserve these flowers too, homie. Yeah, today we're reviewing Norwich City versus Manchester United, and I just wanted to give a little context about the two teams. We have both of them are pretty much experiencing fairly new managerial appointments. So Manchester United has Ralph Rangnick and Dean Smith over there at Norwich City, but you would expect from new managerial appointments that obviously the employees, obviously everybody around is trying to put their best foot forward. Talking specifically too about the footballers, if there's a new manager, you make sure you make sure that you're trying to show the best side of yourself first. First impressions, baby. So both teams are experiencing that. That's a factor to consider in the context of understanding this match. The second thing is also that the positioning on the league. So Norwich City is at the bottom of the league, specifically at the bottom of the relegation zone. Manchester United, on the other hand, is rerouting its GPS, trying to figure out its way to the top four. So two ends of the spectrum, two different ends of the spectrum. But at the same time, it's a very competitive league and it's a very, very, very intriguing game. That is why we love it, football, because teamwork makes the dream work. And that's why Norwich City worked as a team and they looked like a team. And that is partially why it was a very narrow win for Manchester United, for Ralph Rangnick's Red Army to secure that 3 points. They pretty much met a stiff, courageous, confident, and aggressive Norwich City. The Canaries were really up for the occasion to the extent that it was a set piece that made the difference to the scoreline. It was a penalty, more specifically by Cristiano Ronaldo, won and scored by Cristiano Ronaldo, that made the difference on the night. Before we talk about the key moments of the game, I want to just give a big shout out to the homie Dean Smith. Dean Smith, at the beginning of November, was more or less early November. He was sacked by Aston Villa, who now have Steven Gerrard, and I was one of those people that felt bad for him. It's never nice when anybody loses that job, but Dean Smith was like, hey, I'm a hustler, baby. I just want you to know. It's pandemic times, but I stay employed. He literally, 8 days later, Dean Smith was appointed manager of Norwich City when he was sacked by Aston Villa about a week ago. Literally So this is such a motivational story, motivational mentality that if you are somebody that's a hustler, you gotta recognize and appreciate that story and say big shout out to the dean, big shout out to that motivational hustler mentality, big shout out to you showing that like you can stay on your grind. It doesn't matter if it's pandemic times or not, you know. So everybody, there is a big story to be learned from Dean Smith, and maybe we'll do that at another time. But today, we we just want to make sure that the Dean gets his flowers because he's the biggest hustler pretty much since Jose Mourinho in the Premier League. Remember when Jose got sacked by United, and then sooner or later Jose was out there at Spurs being like, "What's up? Amazon documentary. What's up?" So anyway, big shout out to you, Dean Smith. We want to give you your flowers because you deserve them, and that's a very motivational story you have. And we might have to do a special study case on the daring Dean. Back to the match, ladies and gentlemen. Norwich City versus Manchester United. So before we talk about the kickoff play, which is the first item that I want to talk about, I have a theory about when the players were in the tunnel, right? Just before they got onto the pitch. I have a theory that the Norwich City players, specifically Kabak, specifically you, Billy Gilmore, your name actually even sounds like an artist. Specifically you, Rope and Pookie. These homies from Norwich City they showed up. They in the tunnel. My theory is that in the tunnel they were like, "Oh, hey, what's good, Rashford? What's good, Bruno? Nice guitar you holding. What you do? What you do with it?" And Rashford was like, "Ah, what's up, bro? Well, I play Ralph Rangnick rock and roll with it." Bruno was like, "Yeah, my intention is to play rock and roll with it." And then Rope was like, "Hey, let me see that real quick." Billy Gilmore was like, "Let me see that." Pookie was like, "Yo," and then they never returned him. Right before, like when they were still checking him out, it was time to go to the walk onto the pitch, and they were like, "All right." That's my theory. So the reason why I say that is because there was no Ralph Rangnick rock and roll football that we saw versus Crystal Palace. At least we saw 33 minutes of that versus Crystal Palace. I was hoping that the game versus Norwich City would be 45 minutes to 50, maybe 55 or 60 minutes of that rock and roll, and then obviously some time to figure out how to adapt to different situations and get coaching for those moments, and then build from that. But it was nothing like that. So we just have to say that the kickoff play that Norwich City had was very similar to Oli Ball. I don't know if you're a Manchester United fan and you noticed every time at kickoff, especially in the latter part of Ollie's tenure, we would knock the ball forward. It's just kickoff. Somehow we kick it to a player that's a little bit deeper, and then they boot it all the way forward as if somebody's running there on the left foot. And usually there's not even somebody that's in a space that's adequate enough to be dangerous to receive the pass if in case that forward that's darting forward actually receives the ball. But like Norwich City swapped the guitars with us to the extent that they copied our kickoff play. And yeah, and it was that. They gifted the ball to us. And I hope that Ralph Rangnick actually addresses this, or Chris Armas or whoever, because like if it's something that you work on during the week, it clearly is not working. Or if you actually it's a kickoff play that has potential, that maybe you might be able to catch a backline that's sleeping at kickoff when they're paid to pay attention from kickoff to 93 minutes. But anyway, it's a routine that can work if it's executed properly. But we've tried it so many times as Manchester United. It is not funny. It is not cool to watch. So, but at this moment versus Norwich City, it was funny to watch Norwich City do what we do with our guitars. Anyway, at kickoff. Moving forward, the standout player was mi hermano, King David. David, you deserve some flowers. You deserve a lot of praise. You deserve all the recognition because David De Gea, of course, Ronaldo scored the penalty, but David had a major influence to the scoreline. Colossal, colossal, monumental, massive influence. He made not one, not two, not three, but four world class saves, in my opinion, that homie deserves all the flowers I could throw at him. Because, man, David, you've been carrying us all season. The first third of this league, of the Premier League so far, which was what's been covered, I don't know where we would be without David. So you deserve all those flowers. Specifically, the moment that I want to bring light to is at the 56th minute. Victor Lindelof, who sidebar is in very, very great form. He's been performing so well ever since Ole left. Which is very interesting. But Victor, I know there's a player in there. There's a long pass. There's a aggression in there. There is, some pretty good, very confident ball control. When you are actually in a very good space, you can actually pretty much do what is required, the minimum requirements at least of a Man United center back. And presence in the air too, Victor. Presence in terms of positioning, times defensively, but sometimes in set pieces falls asleep, etc., etc. But sidebar to the sidebar is that I hope that you're feeling much much better. I hope that you have actually recovered speedily, because Victor Lindelof was substituted because of a collision in that match. So my thoughts and prayers are with you, Victor, and health is wealth, right, Stance? Health is wealth. So we hope that Victor is Victor, please, please, please take care of yourself. Come back with the good form. Moving forward, what I want to highlight about that moment is that, like, on the 56th minute, David De Gea had to make a world class fingertip save, and that's because Victor was beat by Pookie. Pookie received a first time pass from Rope, and fine, it's a driven pass to you, Pookie, and Pookie turns and pushes the ball with his left foot into the space on his left, and he's able to pull off a long range shot, and find that space between Diego Dallo and Victor Lindelof, and that was a little bit worrying to watch, because Pookie didn't do that much to have that window at goal. So I hope it's something that's addressed in the future, and we're able to see a little bit of a better defensive performance as a unit. I don't want to just say all the blame goes to Victor for this, but it's just worrying if somebody like Pookie does not have to. No offense to Pookie, is actually coming back from injury and starting to catch form. He's a problem, somebody to look out for. If Norwich City get relegated, I hope that doesn't happen. But like, if they do, somebody please pick Pookie up from Norwich City if they fall down to the championship, because that's a homie. That's very, very, very dangerous and cunning and interesting to watch. But the homie Victor, that performance has to be a little bit better. You can't let Pookie just beat you by doing a half body feint and then pushing the ball into a space and being able to pull a shot off. On the 76th minute, Harry Maguire. We bought a bouncer called Harry Maguire from Leicester. He's supposed to be the bouncer that does not let everybody into the party. But the homie, if you're not on the guest list, he listens. Harry Maguire let Kabak, who's who's a decent center back, but Kabak got a shot at goal with his head and had to force David De Gea to make a very, very hard save using his reflexes. He had to adjust his body and be able to make that save. So that is why I'm worried about this bouncer that's called Harry Maguire. That's also our captain. That's also not been doing well ever since pretty much all these last days. Harry Maguire hasn't been great this season. So I pray and hope for a better performance from you, Harry. Otherwise, we're gonna have to send you to the red sofa with Chris, because we have somebody else that's definitely going to the red sofa. But be the bouncer that we bought. Be the be otherwise, Harry, we seriously, that couch is not a two-seater. It's for the space is there, and I'll just say it right now that the homie Marcus, we might have to send you there. I'll get to you in a second. But right now, we're talking about Harry Maguire to be the bouncer that he is. And please, 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 you can't let that situation happen again. As Manchester United fans, we did not enjoy watching that. You have a very, one of the attributes about your gameplay, Harry, is your aerial threat, offensively and defensively. So that is why we have to count on you. We can't have Kabak beat you. I know it's a cross from deep, but you can do better in that moment. The standout moment, though, goes to the homie Sue. It's not about the goal, though. I know I said Sue at that moment, but it's not about that goal. It's the homie Ronaldo coming out there, getting that pass from the midfield that I wanna share some light and say, uh, I'll just say McFred. Scott McTominay and Fred have been instrumental to the Manchester United midfield for the past couple of years, and of course the tactics from Oli, different people have opinions about them, but what I want to say specifically about this game is that Fred, because of his tenacity, because of his anticipation, because of his high work rate, especially defensively, he was able to win the ball quickly and shift it over to Scott McTominay, who Scott McTominay did not waste time with it because he had the vision to see that the left back for Norwich City was in an advanced position, and the homie Ronaldo was able to receive a through pass from the McFred midfield that I want to give flowers to. So there you go, McFred. Actually, McFruno, but Bruno wasn't playing an integral part in this. He was playing a part, but not in terms of pulling a defender away and occupying the position, but like the integral pieces of this attacking phase of play that I want to share some light to is really, 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 really the thanks and gratitude and efforts and confidence and work rate of Fred and Scott McTominay. They provided that opportunity. Remember, Ronaldo received that ball in high velocity. He was at high sprint, pushed the ball a little bit to his right. He wasn't able. He could have taken a first shot, but he, because of his experience, I believe he wanted to be even more in control of the shot, because who knows what could happen when you're sprinting so fast and everything. So he did a fake shot, canceled out Kabak, I believe, and then did another fake shot with his right foot, canceled out the second Norwich City defender. I can't remember who. And then after that, what he pulled out a shot with his left foot, a left-footed finesse shot. It was too close to Tim Krul, unfortunately, and so it was saved. But the main thing is that being able to have that opportunity, thanks to that midfield, is something to give some flowers to. So that is why I just want to just make sure that we recognize and realize that the homies out there working and putting in the shift. So you get all them flowers you deserve, the homie McFred specifically. At the 14th minute of this game, Alex Tellus stamps my our non-existent money is on Alex Tellus to score to be the fullback for Manchester United that's going to score the next goal in the Premier League. So I know it could be Diego Dallo or Luke Shaw if he gets into the fold, but Alex Tellus in the previous game he hit the crossbar, and in this game, sure enough, this time it was a free kick that was deflected from the wall and hit the crossbar. But that's still the same kind of similar outcome in two different matches, and that is why I just want to put my money on you, my non-existent money on you, Alex Tellus, and say you are going to score the next goal. You're going to be the fullback that's going to score the next goal for Manchester United. So big shout out to the new fullback frontier that we have at the United front. Ralph Rangnick's Red Army out here performing. The moment that changed the game, obviously, it is the moment that we all know about. Cristiano Ronaldo. Oof. He received that cross from 43 yards out or so from Scott McTominay, and Aaron's put his arm around him. And if you're a defender defending an aerial ball like that and you put your arm around somebody's neck or shoulder, you have to be sure to win the ball or make sure that you don't have significant enough contact to be able to be looked at as somebody that's impeding a player from an advantageous position. So that's exactly what happened. Cristiano Ronaldo, with his experience and dramatic arts and contact, fell to the floor, and he was there saying, "Ref, what won?" And the referee blew the whistle. It was a penalty that he won, and he rifled that shot to the right of Tim Krul's post, and Tim went to the left. The previous penalty was in the middle. He rifled it to the middle. So, which is very interesting because, it's a game, because obviously the next goalkeeper will be trying to study all those patterns and trying to figure out, well, if we get a penalty, what's going to happen? So I say the next penalty, will he go to the right of the goalkeeper or to the left of the goalkeeper? Or stay in the middle? Ah, what a problem. The next goalkeeper coach has got a problem. Because if he went to middle and right of the goalkeeper, it's only logical to think he's going to go left, but then he might be like, psych, and go middle. But I believe that when he hits the middle, it probably would be the end of the game where the goalkeeper has to sort of make a decision. So it remains to be seen. It'll be very interesting what the next or maybe just give it to Bruno. I don't know. I don't know what Ronaldo's going to do, but I hope we get that, put it at the back of the net. The next penalty we win, we got to put it at the back of the net. So that is the hope and prayer. So one thing to note about this game is that it was approaching the final 15 minutes when we actually scored, and that seems to be the case also with the previous game. So with the previous Premier League game. So I hope this is not a pattern, Ralph, because it's worrying if it's going to be something that's going to happen again, because we need to start putting away games early, like Manchester City, like Liverpool, like Chelsea sometimes. So we need to figure out how to put games away. I want to say that the main thing about the Manchester United attacking phases of play is that it seemed like there was always an obstacle, always a block to get through. The defenders never had, the attacking players never really had a one-on-one clear-cut opportunity with the goalkeeper or just a shot at goal to kind of finish the game off, which is a little bit worrying because I know we are playing the 4-2-2 again, and it seems like maybe it's the way in which the players use the formation or the positioning or whatever it is. There was just, we're not able to create those cunning, dangerous situations, and we need that. We need to see that, because if not, it's a little bit problematic. What's going to happen when we meet teams that are proactive and play on the front foot like Norwich City did? Because Norwich didn't say, "Hey, Manchester, we respect you." No, 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 no. They were aggressive. They were confident. And what's going to happen when we meet other teams like that in the Champions League, for example? A lot of teams play on a front foot. Fine, we've got Atletico Madrid. A big characteristic about Atletico Madrid's gameplay is that they sit back on the counter and try and hit you on the counter. They're very much organized, and they highlight that defensive attributes a lot more than that offensive attributes, so to speak. In terms of how they like slowing the game down and really annoying you. Like if they get the first goal, we're in trouble. If they get the first goal from like a set piece, why deep, deep doo doo. So I, you know, I expect us to make it past Atletico, and then what's going to happen? Because definitely the team that's going to play after that is going to be more proactive, more front foot. Atletico, if you score the first goal, they're going to be on you. So it's not like they're going to still sit back. So we need to figure out how to use this 4-2-2 against other teams that are more energetic and more proactive and still be able to maintain the control that Ralph Frank has been talking about for the past 16 days and be able to exercise it and have it be exhibited in the game. Because whether that means maybe knowing different moments to control the pacing and tempo of the game. Sometimes it's not always pressing all the time. There's certain zones in the field where you don't attack or press the ball, and you kind of sit back and preserve the shape and sort of like nullify the danger from the opponent and maybe force them to go in a different place in the field, or different, just change that attacking phase, just to rearrange or restructure that attacking phase. So we need to be able to have that defensive organization that's able to display that. And also the players also need to understand that Ralph Rangnick rock and roll is not always like passing the ball forward and losing it. Because the moment you give the team the other ball, the moment you give the other team the ball, then you're putting yourself at a disadvantage, and you have to defend. You're putting yourself in a defensive phase, in a defensive place. So sometimes it's about minimizing those defensive phases of play and making sure that the majority of the phases of play is you attacking and you having the ball and you controlling the game. And it is fine also when the team, because it's a back and forth game, the other team is still going to attack no matter who you play. They're probably going to get a corner, they're probably going to get a set piece no matter who you play, whether it's a team that's in the Carabao Cup or FA Cup or whatever, any league. If there's gonna be a set piece, there's gonna be an attacking phase that belongs to the other place. So you have to know what you're doing in your defensive phases. So, but the point that I'm really trying to drive home is that the what we do in our defensive phases matters a lot, and we need to figure that out as a Manchester United team that's trying to figure out what it means to play this rock and roll under Ralph Rangnick. So I definitely love the fact that in his post-match conference he mentioned that we lacked intensity and physicality, because those are two key to begin with. There's a big list of ingredients that you need to have to win constantly in the Premier League, and intensity and physicality are just the bare minimum. So we lacked that, and which is really worrying, because maybe they swapped the guitars, but also it because if you right now we're able to reflect on the situation a little bit better and say, because of the COVID reports that came out a few days later, it's fair to kind of speculate a little bit and say maybe some players were experiencing something like that, and that's why they were not intense and physical enough, because we're not winning any of our second balls, any of our one-on-one duels. It was a little bit worrying to see. Here's also another thought. With the 4-2-2, which seems to be the first formation that Ralph Rank has been drilling into the players, and Fred is a standout player, standout midfielder that we definitely can imagine in the midfield setup moving forward. He's also a liability to the opposition when the opposition has the ball, when the opposition goalkeeper has the ball, because you can basically aim the zone that Fred is in and pair him up with a player that's taller than him. And there's usually a lot of players that are taller than him in the Premier League. So if you aim that ball to that zone, chances you're increasing the chances of you winning the ball in the opposition half as an opposition team. So as Manchester United, we need to figure out how to nullify that danger. And I'm not bringing just life to Fred because of his physicality, but it's just more. He actually does a lot. Even if you try and win a one-on-one duel with him, he won't make it easy for you. So I just want to give you your flowers, Fred, and say that. But like the point that I'm trying to make is that the formation needs to be able to adapt to sometimes clog the midfield if we need to. If Because if we're not winning second balls, is a problem. If Scott McTominay was not winning a few duels, Victor Lindelof didn't win a few duels in his defensive position. So we need to figure out a way to kind of make sure that like the midfield is overloaded when it needs to be, but we still keep the integrity of the formation because it's a beautiful formation. But like every formation in the football game, it has a strengths and weaknesses. So it's a matter of like figuring out how the team can learn to nullify the weaknesses of the 4-2-2 and be able to maximize the strengths and and create danger for the opponents. So, but also that also begs the question: does the double R have another formation under his sleeve? Because if not, we are dying to know. So I just want to just give a big shout out to the double R and the players at Manchester United for adapting to this new style of play with very little time. It's something to not take for granted. So big shout out to you. You get a little everything. Sue, you get all the flowers I can send you, baby. All the flowers I can send you to the Manchester United squad. This brings us to my favorite section of the show called, oh my goodness, this is the, what time is it, Stamps? It's troll time. All right. The first section of troll time goes to, okay. So I was watching the United View, right? One of my other favorite shows to watch on YouTube. It was KG and Flex on the United View, and when somebody on the super chat said something along the lines of Rashford is a skinny version of Adama Traore. Ceasefire! I had to say stop. What? No, they said Rashford is a skinny version of Adama Traore. So that had me laughing like crazy. I hope, the reason why is because like I thought of FIFA, right? When you're doing especially last year's FIFA, when you're playing pro clubs and you do the Adama Traore glitch, and then like your player looks buff and everything and is killing it in the game or whatever, and then the next thing FIFA does the update, and then your player just like kind of kills it, but like looks like Rashford 3 years ago, because Rashford 3 years ago, oh my goodness. Anyway, so I just had to just dedicate that moment to that. I love Marcus. I love Marcus Rashford, and I said 3 years ago because he actually gained some muscle and some bone and he's some physicality. So we just need to implement it in his game and make sure that it's an advantage in his play, and uh, and we'll see more from Marcus. So otherwise, Rashford, as I mentioned earlier on, you're the player that based on of Norwich, the Norwich City game that deserves to be sent to the red sofa with Chris, because we need to like connect your mind and your body, brother. Right now, ever since the surgery, it's been a little bit stiff. Nothing has been like smooth flowing yet, and like that is a little bit worrying. I know you got it in you. You definitely, there's a player in there, so that is why I hope we can fix it, whatever it is. Let's help Rashford get back to Rashford, the Rashford that we know, because young he's a generational talent like Mason Greenwood, and an academy boy that has definitely showed us he can deliver the goods, So, and I know he's got it in him. The second moment of troll time goes to it's actually this one goes to my bro, because he and I had a conversation, and it was based on a post that he saw, but like it goes something like this. It was picture this, him talking to my mom, right? Our mom. Mama, wake up. They're back. Mama says, what, my son? What are you talking about? Who is back? They're back, Mama. I'm talking about. Do you see them? Manchester United. They are back. And I couldn't stop laughing because I was just like, stop. Stop with the shots, homie. So, he cracked me up. And I never heard the term, but then when I actually just started scrolling around a lot of YouTube, like comments and stuff, I saw it. And I was just like, wow, I didn't know that's our other name. So this was the review for Norwich City versus Manchester United. And I want to just say thank you so much for joining me. Here's some flowers for you for sitting through this video, for joining me. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and make sure that you're here for the next video. Big shout out to you. Big shout out to your loved ones. Big shout out to your how you're ending your 2021. So, yes, flowers for all of us for making it this far. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Manchester United was saved by Penaldo. 1-0.